through video. Never seen that one before. Well, good evening, people. How we all doing? Seeing how much lag we got on YouTube. About 20 seconds. Let's try refreshing, see if that makes any difference. Obviously not. Right, we'll have live chat on. Good evening, Karen. Well, see how long we last tonight. I'm not feeling at my best again, obviously. I've had no sleep today. I've been up since about 4 o'clock. Good evening, Holly. You can see and hear me. Well, thank God for that. Yeah, we had a friend of ours popped in this afternoon and we've been chatting all afternoon. Marines, good evening, mate. Is anybody getting this torrential rain they forecast today yet? We had a little shower here, that's about it. But it has been overcast. And instantly we got 16 watching. Bloody hell. Good evening, people. Phil, good evening, mate. Yeah, feeling a bit rough, Phil, but not too bad. I don't think I'll make it till 10, but we'll see how far we get. Jenny, good evening, sweetheart. Gypsy, good evening, mate. Yeah, we had a lot of rain yesterday, Karen. A lot of rain. Hunter, good evening, mate. Well, has anybody checked to see if Starmer's uncle did actually serve in the South Atlantic? Yeah, we're getting over the lurgy, Gypsy. I've got other issues going on. Obviously, with the COPD, with me breathing and that now doesn't help. Stitch, hello, sweetheart. And obviously the fatigue. And you put the lot together and it kind of screws you up. And Heather's still recovering from the lurgy. But I suppose a lot of what I've got comes with age. Some of it is probably abusing myself in a younger life. But oh, pardon me. But hey, I enjoyed it. But yeah, shit happening now, isn't there? We got a new. How old are you? I'm 63, Gypsy. Both of us are the same age. There's only about 5 weeks between us. Not that I ever give a lady's age away. I'll say 5 weeks. Good evening, Stuart. But yeah, we've got new terrorism laws on the way. And that's going to make things a bit interesting. Well, Gypsy will probably find out more about them before we will. Because I can guarantee that they're going to be putting some stuff in there that they can use against the auditors and stuff. They already try and falsify arrests under the Section 43. But most of them don't seem to know how to use it properly. I don't know whether you know about it, Gypsy Auditor, but when they arrest you under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act, the first thing they're supposed to do when they take you to booking in is contact the anti-terror squad to see if they've got any interest in you. If they haven't, then they're supposed to let you go straight away. This has been proved. A few auditors have had this and have done it themselves. And yep, there's nothing they can do. If the anti-terror squad say there's no interest in you, nothing on you, let you go. Once they've explained why they've arrested you, then they got to do it. Gary, good evening, mate. But I'm thinking they're going to be putting stuff in there, obviously, yeah, there is a big terror threat in this country at the moment with what's coming in and what's been going on. But are they going to use it against the so-called far right? Is this being put in place very, very quickly before the 26th for Tommy's rally in London? Nobody's talking about that, are they? But just good evening, Graham. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, Grumpy gets in the corner. As always, this is where I spend most of my day, mate. I can't do a lot else. Although I have got to get out in the workshop at some point and make some brackets for the bottom of my chair because the ram's fucked. It keeps going up and down now. And it screws my legs up because I've got to keep my legs bent. You're trying to get wrecked. Fair enough. You're hungry, are you, Gary? Scar, good evening, mate. Yeah, we always have something to eat before we come on air.
And I'm with Graham. Cheers, mate.
So, oh, you're on it as well, are you? Huh, okay. I'll stick with my Coke, I don't mind. Gary's over. I got to admit, that's one thing I don't miss about not drinking is the hangovers.
What's a hangover? I've had one once.
Yeah, but I used to get them. Funny enough, Holly, I don't miss that either much now, to be honest. Which is just as well with my throat. There we go. What else? Yeah.
But Holly's with somebody that smokes, and it's what we said. When you're with somebody that's smoking, you can't give up.
No, it's easier if two of you do it together. Oh, Karen's on it as well. Is everybody drinking in here? Am I the only one that doesn't?
Well, it is a Friday.
Doctor's been trying to put me on a new drug for arthritis. Sulfazine. I haven't heard of that one, Stuart. I mean, I've got arthritis, but I don't actually take anything for it. I've got it in my neck, top of my spine, shoulders.
Holly, I was giving you an excuse as to why you've gone back to smoking. So
we're lucky here, Ollie. We've got a new pharmacy round the corner, and it's actually connected to the GP's practice, I believe. Boots shut that was round there, and I had to go at the people in there once because they never had anything in, and I had to keep going backwards and forwards, which actually knackered me, basically. And we have the delivery service now. It's free from them at the moment. So Heather just goes online to save me going around the surgery, orders up my prescriptions, and usually it's delivered the next day.
I do mine while I'm there, saving one trip.
Depends what sort of vape you're on. Blitz, good evening.
Yeah, Graham, this £1 bottle of liquid will last me a week. You can't tell me you can buy cigarettes that cheap.
Yeah, we only use the cheap little bottles.
They work.
So cute. Yeah, they've started sending out invitations, Stuart. They sent me one again. I won't say what I put in my reply because I prefer to keep the stream up. But they know better than to keep bugging me. I've had words with them before over that.
All I'll say, Graham, is they must be good quality. That's not even tobacco you're smoking.
They don't deliver morphine. You can get it in tablet form, though, Stitch.
If they won't deliver it, they won't deliver it because it's the risk of being attacked.
Yeah, I suppose nobody's going to want mine, are they? They might have done when I was on the tramadol, but mind you, if a drug dealer broke in here when I was on the tramadol, they'd have had a whale of a fucking time. Yeah, funny enough, Holly, our friend that was round earlier on, he's just had a minor op, and he was on. They put him on the morphine for the pain and that. But I still had to give him a couple of cold in while he was here.
I hate morphine.
I liked it when he was with Tony Hart. I used to take tramadol all the time, Gary. It was towards the end of my mountain biking career. Basically, I was taking it before I was riding, so I didn't feel any pain before I even started getting pains. But I was taking that much. I was off my face half the time with it. Yeah, well, that's why I used to take it, Ollie. Used to make me all floaty. Fair enough, Stitch. But I mean, if I breathe wrong now,
you die.
I get all lightheaded and that anyway. I'm almost lightheaded most of the time with the blood pressure and that anyway. I'm feeling that today. It's just saying enough for his holiday. Well, I shouldn't really say it on air, but I used to get extra. Heather's mother used to get prescribed them and she hated taking them. But she always picked up a prescription. Let's just leave that there, you know what I mean? Sociable, etc. Yeah, maybe we should have a party, Holly, and swap some around and see what different things do to people. Yeah, that could be quite amusing.
If you can get tramadol for sciatica, Stuart, I'm going to try pushing for them. I like tramadol. I'd have to keep them in the safe, though, or he'd nick them.
No, I'm over that addiction, I think. Pick and mix, yeah. Fuerteventura, yeah, I quite like the windy island. Yeah, I wouldn't entertain any of that stuff, Ollie. That was one rule we used to have in the bike club. Smoke what you want, sniff what you want, but if we catch you with a needle in your arm, you're out, you're gone. And with the needle snapped off and pushed in. I used to get them on repeat prescriptions, Stuart. Tramadol. And they even used to give me 3 months supply at a time.
You mean Mother was on repeat?
Yeah, well, so was mine. But for some reason, the GP here now, whether it's because of money or whatever, they won't prescribe any more than 2 months script at a time now. Pardon me. Good evening, Tony. Happy birthday, mate, for today. Hope you're having a good day.
Yeah, happy birthday, Tony.
Yeah, I'll agree with him on that front with them, Molly. I mean, they won't with some of the stuff. Apparently, because it's a lot of people used to sell it, not take it. But I'm like, yeah, anything that's prescribed for me, other than the statins that they used to try and push on me, I take. I have got a box of them water tablets here that one doctor prescribed, but that's only because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do, other than just making me piss all the time. But I've got another hospital appointment on Friday, actually. Friday morning, so there may not be a video unless I can get up early enough to get one together. But because if I try afterwards, it may be the fact that I have to wait in and have a venous section, the treatment I take, because I don't know what the blood cell count's going to be until I've had the blood test. So. And then next week, I think it is, I've got an appointment with a consultant. And I should have another one soon with the other consultant about my breathing and my throat. And try to sort something out about my sleep patterns. I'm actually considering asking for something to help me sleep. But I've got to get the blood thing sorted because my legs are all swollen again. I mean, right from the hip, they're all swollen. I struggle to walk about. I can barely get out into the kitchen now without being out of breath. So something's got to give. Yeah, that's the problem with me, Holly. There's no surgical option for anything I've got. Here, you know it, Graham. I feel like a second-hand tea bag, 2,000 perforations. But sometimes when they're trying to take the blood for testing, don't know why, they'll probably have to stick a needle in me 3 or 4 times before they can find a vein. But once they find one, it just keeps bleeding then. Top of the clone. No. I've been having all of those, Stuart, ever since I had the blood clot on the brain some years back. I got tested regular, and bloody legs ache. And because we've got a history of cancer in the family, I also used to have an annual test for that as well. But they include that at the haematology clinic now. Sieve, yeah, I could be, Graham. Not saying where they stick the needles, but when I piss, it's like a coming out of a colander, you know.
How is your blood pressure, Holly? Is it steady or is it all over the place?
I've actually got 2 blood pressure monitors, Holly, and both of them broke. They both lasted about a month, and then they just packed up working. Wouldn't calculate or nothing. And the GPs won't give me one. And I'm not paying for another one. We've paid for 2. I ain't paying for any more. But I can usually tell by the way I feel. That's why I've been trying to keep myself calm this week with all the shit going on. I can feel that my blood pressure's been up quite a bit. And I haven't had my blood tested for a few weeks now, so I don't know what my cell count is. Is that raining? That sounded like rain on the windowsill out there.
Don't know. You're closest to the window.
No, it sounded like it was at the front.
No.
Yeah, mine won't give me one, Gary. They can't afford it. They haven't got any spare.
They're all out.
I actually bought mine. Yeah, they're only about 20 quid on eBay, but
Gotta watch.
that's right, Graham. You know what I'm like. I don't care. Tina, who most of you know, she wears one of the ones on her wrist. Well, they wouldn't last 5 minutes with me. The ones I got are the ones with an actual sleeve, but they seem to work for about a month or so, and then they just stop working. I don't know why.
My watch takes my blood pressure.
How can it?
I don't know, but it does.
Can't be that accurate then.
Well, it matches what the doctors say.
Oh, you spoke to Tina. Yeah, we were going to get in touch with her, but Heather managed to get her PIP done by herself. And I'm doing mine soon as well. We also had her out to, and one of our mates out today, he didn't know that he could apply for pension credits. So she downloaded and printed off the forms for him.
And the 24-page booklet on how to fill it out.
He was like freaking out because of the amount of pages it run into, but
we did point out that a lot of it was not applicable for him.
well, that's it. A lot of things like that. The questions, don't apply to everybody. So
don't let Starmer and his twats get to me, Graham.
that's my problem, Graham, because I'm looking at it all day, writing notes on it, looking around, seeing what they're doing. Like today, every Wednesday afternoon, I watch PMQs, and it does get your blood pressure up. I mean, that one of the bloke who threw the acid over that young girl the other day. I mean, they've let him out on bail, which is really, really disgusting in my mind, being as they wouldn't grant bail to the people that had just said hurty words on the internet that are no real threat to anybody. Yet that arsehole they let out on bail. Unbelievable. It's not that they repeat the questions, Gary. It's that you don't get any fucking answers from the questions. They'll just give statements and then they'll repeat the same statement when they're asked the same thing again. It's a pantomime. It's scripted. They know what the questions are well in advance and they've already got their answers written down. The only thing I like to see about it is the shit throwing, the stabbing each other in the back and taking the piss. I mean, Sunak, he come out with a couple of beauties there today. He was going on about, Starmer was saying about Summer, and Sunak just stood there and said, well, yeah, even Lord Ali wouldn't be interested in buying into that. That was a brilliant comeback. But again, he looked at his notes. That was scripted. It was written in. And, it's all done for the cameras. Same as when they show the cabinet meetings. Damn well it's scripted. They're not going to say anything in front of the cameras.
like the good old days of the wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. It's the political wrestling. I mean, what's her name? Rosie Duffield, the one that resigned from the party. If you ever read her resignation letter, I mean, she was absolutely damning of him. She slated him left, right, and centre, and some of the other front benchers. I thought, yeah, that woman's got more balls than any of them in there with what she put. But there again, this government and the last one both said they were going to be transparent, and they've been anything but. I mean, Starmer won't even discuss, apparently, what they're going to do with the party and their ideas. They just bang it into the front bench and out it goes. But he has been hauled over the coals by the party about sticking to the manifesto, because obviously he's been called out now over lying, and could be against parliamentary rules what he did. But he's still sticking to the fact that they're not going to raise taxes and national insurance and shit, which is going to be interesting because they need billions and billions going into the pot for what they've got planned.
He is still being very careful and saying they are not going to penalise the working man. They are not saying they're not going to penalise businesses, which is what Starmer was asking.
Yeah, businesses.
Yeah, they'll put it on employers' NI. They're talking about stopping maternity pay.
I mean, you've only got to look at the CO2, the carbon capture thing that they're going to do in Liverpool and Manchester. Funny how that's going to cost the same amount as the alleged black hole in the economy, in the finances, which the Bank of England and the Financial Ombudsman still can't find. And they're still not showing any evidence that it's there. So, yeah, the BBC is shit, Gary. I think once they lose their licence, I think you'll see a bit of a turn in them. From what I've seen and the bits I watch, Sky is turning. They are starting to call Labour out, but they're still taking their answers without hauling them up on that. As I said, if I asked them a question and they wouldn't give me an answer, then I'd fuck them off. I'd kick them out of the studio. There's no point you being here if you're not going to give an answer, you know? What's that, Gary? Gary, what?
He's talking about the film that Graham.
Oh, Threads. Yeah.
What's Threads?
Hecklefish. See, I don't watch anything like that. Oh, the TV license. Fair enough. But, they're the only channel that does have to pay. You have to pay for a license. Now, personally, I think if you're saying you can't watch any live broadcasts without it, then they should be spreading the license money amongst all the stations that do live, whether they've got adverts in or not. Yeah, they're looking in at decriminalising it again, Graham. especially after that case was brought up about the vulnerable woman that was fined and didn't even get to go to court. They're saying now that if they're prosecuting you for it, then you should at least have the right to appear in court to put a defence forward if you want to, rather than the single justice system, which they do now, which is basically a magistrate there saying guilty, 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 because the BBC say so. We know that happens elsewhere. In particular, council tax and stuff like that. That's all usually a single justice system unless you complain about it.
Thank you, Stuart.
It's after the nuclear site. Fair enough. It's one of the apocalypse movies then. Or epoxy clips, as they call it.
Epoxy clips.
Epoxy clips, yeah. When it comes to the epoxy clips. Yeah, I wouldn't put that past them, Stuart. I wouldn't put that past them, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's Starmer that put her forward. It's funny how they gave her time and space to leave and then re-employed her again. But they're not saying what her salary is going to be. There was talk that the position that she's taking is actually unpaid. Well, I don't believe that. They fuckers in the House of Power, they don't do nothing for nothing.
She can claim expenses.
Yeah, she can claim more expenses than most people out here can earn. Like all of them, you know.
Expenses aren't taxable.
I mean, you know, I'd like to see them do away with what they can claim, a lot of it. The second home, the heating bills. Yeah, he's had to move again, and I did watch one of his videos today. Due to death threats and that, he's had to move out of London again now. But he still considers himself the same as mainstream media with the way he accentuates things, and that's why I don't watch him. You know, I've seen him there. Oh yeah, we've got the huge protest going on here, and insults being thrown backwards and forwards. And he was actually stood there with about 30 people, and he was over 100 yards away from where the protest was. So, and it's all about money with him as well. You know, considering he just sits in front of the camera and talks. Yeah, I know he's got a website where obviously he can put more stuff out, but it's like Belfield, you know. Belfield reckoned he had a $9,000 a month bill for his team. Because, yeah, all he was doing was recording the video and then chucking the video to them, and they were processing it for him. And where did all the money go that he got for fighting against the BBC in court? That didn't happen, did it? Art Stew, hello. Yeah, that's what I mean, Art Stew. They subsidise food, subsidise drink. They can claim for clothing and what have you if they need it. Heating bills. You know, it's some of those guys, especially the front benchers, are some of the richest people in there. You know, the likes of Sunak and Starmer. Yeah, they can claim more in a day in expenses than most people would earn in a week. You know, I mean, Starmer's on two wages and two salaries anyway, because he gets one salary as an MP and then he gets another salary of 90 grand for being PM. Yeah, and then he gets the golden pension at the end of it, don't they? Any PM gets that, the 100 grand flat payout guaranteed every year for life. You know, nobody else gets perks like that, not in the real world. And I did find something else out the other day as well. Old King Chubby Fingers cannot dissolve the government unless the government ask him to. I didn't know that until the other day when I looked that up. Yeah, absolutely, Gary, a good slap. Yep. The law was changed by Sunak, funny enough. It's always been that it would cause big trouble if the monarchy actually dissolved the government. I can't remember when the last one was done. I think it was Cromwellian times or something like that. But yeah, if the king, it can be done, but it means the king has to actually run the country rather than a government. But Sunak changed the law, put a law in place that the government are protected, and the only time they can the king dissolves the government is at the request of the government at the time. If, like with Boris and that, the party say that they vote them out, they vote in no confidence, they don't want the PM there, and we want to dissolve the government, then they go and ask the king to do it formally. But other than that, as far as I see from my research, he cannot dissolve the government. As soon as he's accepted and installed the government, like they did after the election, then that government is in power until the 5-year term runs out, or they ask him to dissolve it. No, they won't, Ollie. Exactly. I mean, they did extend it. It used to be 3-year term, and then it was extended to 5 years. That's it, Graham. Nobody, mate. Nobody. Yes, Karen, absolutely we are. Yeah, sure, that is the issue. I mean, the COs and that get full salary pension. I know that for a fact because my sister got it. She left when she left as captain, commissioned officer. That's why she stayed in, because they gave her a commission. And she come away with a 3-figure and 3-0 payout, plus a full salary pension. And they employed her the day afterwards as a civvy back in one of her old jobs on, I think it was 70 grand a year. Paulette, good evening, sweetheart. Yeah, all their expenses, personal expenses, should stop. Absolutely.
They get enough in their salary to be able to pay for shit. We're expected to pay for it. Why shouldn't they?
You know, he's on 175 grand a year and he gets his heating bills paid for him. Yet a pensioner on 13 grand a year has got to pay their own. Something wrong there somewhere. So, yeah, I'm all for that. for each department, obviously they can claim expenses for people they employ for government work in their departments, whatever. But again, I think they should be given a figure, and that's what they have to work within. Not, I want to take on an extra half a dozen people, you've got to pay for them. If they fall outside the amount that they've been allocated, then fuck them. You either pay for them yourself or you don't engage them. Yeah, Stu, and it's all top-notch food they get as well. Someone did, who was it? I think it was Andy the Gabby Cabby. He actually posted the menu and the prices of the food and the 2 bars they've got.
I was going to say, what they pay for meals is about what they allow for school pupils, but, you know, they can get steak and chips for £3.50.
That's a bit more than that.
All right, £4.50.
Yeah, exactly, Stuart. Exactly. Why should you have your state pension cut back just because you've got private pensions that you've saved for and paid into for all your work in life as well? You've paid into the system, so everybody should get the same amount out of the system that paid into it. And once you're on your pension, I don't believe you should pay any tax.
No, hang on. Did you not hear my argument with Sparky earlier?
No.
If you're on 100k pension, should you not be paying tax like the rest of us?
Why?
It's income that you haven't been taxed on at all in your lifetime because it's gone into your pension. Therefore, it's coming in as taxable pay. And when you're on 100 grand a year pension, like the MPs are, I think they should be paying fucking tax on it.
Well, the pension my dad paid into, he had to pay tax on that. It was paid out after his wages.
Yes, and then it's topped up with the taxable.
Not back then, it wasn't.
Okay.
I can tell you it wasn't.
But I'm sorry, I think if you're on a stupid pension, you should be paying tax. If you're earning more than every man, the dog on the street that's working his socks off, you should be paying bloody tax because you didn't pay tax on it beforehand. Because most of them will have been a salary sacrifice, which is taken before tax and before national insurance.
No, that's not what the old man was doing.
No. I'm talking fucking politicians.
Oh, politicians, yeah.
And everybody like that that's had a pension advisor from word go. Their pensions, it's money they've never paid tax on that's gone into those pensions.
I've never heard of that one, Holly. Getting free baked potatoes in supermarket cash.
Have you not?
No.
Oh yeah, you go in and ask for Enid or something.
Yeah, she said you got to put a code word. Give them a code word.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but a lot of the supermarkets do it. You just go up to the cashier and you say, "Can I have Enid, please?"
Oh, sure. Yeah, but I mean, it's sad when you've got to go to a food bank, basically ask for charity to feed your kids or feed your family. You know, because there are people that genuinely have to do that or they don't eat. And I find that disgusting. Yeah, the bots are always in the live streams, Graham. Because I give the faceless cowards so much shit that, you know, they're probably watching live as well. So, hi, YouTube, you assholes. But that's always been my beef with YouTube. But, you know, they don't play it. They won't let you play on a level playing field. And this is why I don't like AI and bots. You know, they've got no sense of context. They've got no humor. They don't recognize humor. Yeah, if a bit of sarcasm, most humans will pick up on sarcasm, a robot doesn't. Well, this is something I said, I think it was in today's video, Holly. You know, they were saying that they want the immigration because the birth rate of the indigenous people of this country has dropped. Well, yes, because people are realizing now that they can't have a family because they can't afford to. They can't afford to start a family, these youngsters. There's a lot of people that would love to start a family, but it's financially impossible.
Meanwhile, the mindless twats on benefits are going, fuck it, the more we have, the more we get.
Exactly. Same with the olds, you know. And they're, like I said again today, they're coming up with creative ways of getting rid of the olds because, as far as they're concerned, we're just a drain on society. They don't take into account that we're the fuckers that have paid into the system over the years that have enabled them to build the country as it is. You know, and now our thanks for that is fuck off, you're useless, you can't contribute anymore, we don't need you. Which is, I find, absolutely disgusting. Yeah, exactly, Ollie. Like they're trying to force the sick back to work now. Well, you know yourself. With me, I've had 2 consultants and the DWP advisor say that it is dangerous for me to work. I'd love to be able to work. They do need sick people, Stuart, because the big pharma wouldn't exist otherwise. If everybody didn't get sick, then there'd be no need for a hospital.
But as I said, the Labour meeting, what was it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Conference.
Labour conference. It's we're going to look after the working man. We're going to look after the workers. We're going to do this for the workers. Fuck the pensioners and fuck the disabled. We don't care about them.
I mean, I like the clip that's been up this week of the little old dear abusing Starmer in a pub and telling him exactly the way it is and the look on his face.
I'd love to meet the twat.
Oh, I could ask him a few questions. He wouldn't last long on our doorstep, I'll tell you. Well, even his little cronies had turned up canvassing only lasted, 10 seconds before I fucked them off.
What I meant to do, Penny.
You know, the only yes, Stitch, it was brilliant. She did tell him, and the old fella there trying to move her out, and she's like, "Don't touch me." All right, Graham. Cheers for dropping in, mate. You stayed quite a while tonight. Longer than normal. Take it easy, bub.
He's having slow cooked lamb tonight. It's taken longer to be ready.
This is what I mean, Gary. Not him, and people like him, Starmer, Sunak, they're not in touch with the real world. They say they're working for the people, yet they know nothing about the people. They know nothing about the struggles that we have out here because they don't want to. They're hidden from it. They're sheltered from it. It's the same as all these videos that me and thousands of others put out on YouTube. None of them ever get seen by any of them because their team shelter them from it. They screen them from it. Any negativity, any posts, any news that is negative to them, they're screened from. So they don't know what's going on in the real world.
Oh, and by the way, I've just checked. I was right about Penny Mordaunt. She lost her seat.
She did. Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's all right. I was wondering why Penny hadn't run for leader of the.
Yeah, if she's
Conservatives.
a backbencher, then she can't.
She isn't even a venture.
Oh, fucking hell.
She hasn't got a seat. She lost.
I got two that I know of, Stuart. There maybe one or two more out there, but nobody's ever come up to me and said it. No, my dick's never been racist. In fact, many years ago, I did go out with a coloured girl. And that only fell apart because of her family. They were actually racist towards me.
Most of them are. You've got to stick with your own.
Yeah, but didn't we all in a young day, Stuart? Sausage got thrown around everywhere, didn't it? That's why I liked to be single back then. Wherever I lay my sausage, that was my home. Oh, God, we haven't descended into smut for weeks, have we? Oh, don't start
You've been
now.
talking to Dan, haven't you?
No. Well, yeah, I chatted to Dan the weekend. But...
He's fine, by the way.
Yeah, Dan's absolutely fine.
He's going to try and get home soon so he can do a live, but we're not certain when at the moment. Because he's still busy looking after Mum and Dad.
Yeah, but Ollie, come on, you've got more balls than most blokes anyway, so might be a little bit smaller because they're in profile with you. But oh dear, I got to come out the gutter. For fuck's sake, come out the gutter. Oh dear. But yeah, we had a good chat with Dan the weekend. Had a good catch up, and he's fine. I think that was. With the amount of weight I put on, Ollie, I'd be lucky if I could find mine. Even with them hanging around my knees at my age, you know. Everybody says you look at a woman's tits, they go south at a certain age. You try looking at a bloke's balls after a certain age, they go a bit further south than a pair of tits, I'll tell you.
Want to bet?
Yeah. I bet my balls are closer to the ground than your tits are.
Yes, but I bet they haven't dropped as far.
Oh, I don't know.
They'd be by your knees. They're not by your knees.
How do you know?
Because I'd see them.
You've been looking again. Ah.
They'd be hanging out from underneath your t-shirt. They're not.
Oh, that was a big thing about him talking to him. Do you know what, Stuart? Funny enough, some of the best times I had back in my later teens was hanging around outside the convent in Abingdon. They used to conveniently leave windows open and doors open. Yeah, you can see exactly how low they hang on a 69, Karen. Exactly. That's what I said, Holly. We descended into the gutter after all these weeks of keeping it clean.
Yeah, Holly hasn't been here, and you haven't spoken to Dan in weeks. So
yeah, we need a Pap Live for the gutter talk, don't we? And it's usually me and him that drag it down in that.
It's the thought of him getting home and doing a Pap Live that's got you into the gutter.
Mind you, if you look at some of his posts, they're very rarely above the gutter on Facebook.
No. Definitely not.
Oh, dear.
Of course.
Absolutely, Holly. Absolutely. Oh dear, I'm going light-headed now. All this laughing. Oh, come on, breathe. Fuck me.
If he died now, you're all witnesses. It wasn't me.
Well, I've had a stroke on well, in the
Pardon,
hallway.
what?
When I was on the live, I had to
I
go out.
didn't.
I did.
I didn't give you a stroke while you were alive.
No. I suppose dying would be just the next step, really, wouldn't it?
Well, you've got to remember, on my live, we were talking about dispatching people. So the fact.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That can come in soon because they're looking into the doing away with yourself laws, aren't they? Be interesting to see what they come up with that. I mean, they say it won't apply unless you're 6 months away from croaking. But the way the government works, it'd probably take 6 months to go through all the processes to make it fucking legal. So it'd be totally irrelevant anyway, wouldn't it? Assisted dying, that was the words I was looking for. Self doing away with yourself. Yeah, right, okay.
I'm sorry, you can do away with yourself now. It's called suicide.
Yeah, and you can't be prosecuted for it anymore.
Well, it's a bit difficult if you kill yourself. What they're going to do?
It's ages-based, Roger. Yes, Gary, we don't know about that yet because it's in place in Canada. And as we know, Trudeau is a full-on lefty commie. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if ours is based on the same sort of thing. And they're even given veterans that have got no life, they're just living on the streets with it. They're even giving them the option of it. Healthy people.
And I think that's what they want to avoid. They don't want it to be too easy an option that people are just going, fuck it. Oh, yeah, I don't want to be here. Stuff it. They don't want people following Trudeau.
Yes, sure. We never took any preference, did we, back then? Yeah, the Swiss have had it in place for a long time. But in fairness with them, even there, you do have to meet a certain criteria.
And if there's somebody assisting, they can still face prosecution when they come home. Yes,
you can. And you can be prosecuted for it in this country if you try it here as well. Now, there was one woman, I think it was about 9 years ago. They tried to prosecute her because she didn't actually administer anything to her husband, but she left the stuff he used within his reach, knowing that he was going to do it. They'd agreed to it. Luckily enough, she didn't get imprisoned for it, but the law used to be, if you attempted suicide and you failed, you could get prosecuted.
Bring back the death penalty.
But the weirdest one I've found is in America. I mean, I've seen 2 cases of people, one where he actually committed suicide, and that was the very sad case of the Marine who set himself on fire. The first thing one cop did after he lit himself on fire was stand there and point a gun at him, which would have probably done the guy a favour and put him out of his misery. I mean, he did die anyway. And there was another one that's going back a few years now. I remember seeing a video of it. A bloke threatening to jump off a bridge. And the cop was standing there pointing the gun at him, saying, step down, or I'll shoot.
Could he then have been done for assisted suicide?
Well, exactly. It's like these in America that did suicide by cop. They force a cop to shoot them. You know. Yeah, Gary, that if you actually assist and administer anything or something like that, or smother somebody, yes, that they can. But she got away with it literally because she didn't administer the overdose. I can't. It might have been morphine. I can't remember what it was. But it was a drug that he was on because of his condition. He knew he was going to go at some point. He had no quality of life. And they both agreed that if he wanted to end it, she would help him. And to get around it so she didn't get too much of a penalty, that was the way they did it. And luckily enough, a judge saw her side of it and his side of it. And I think, if I remember rightly, she got a suspended sentence and that was it.
But there's been people that have been prosecuted because the judge they got did not see their side of it.
Yeah.
And that's the danger. And it shouldn't be like that. We are humane enough to say when our pets do not have a quality of life, we will help them end their lives painlessly, but we can't do it with our loved ones. It is so wrong.
We can stop a pet suffering, but we can't stop a human suffering. Yeah, that would be the worst thing, Gary, is, you're losing the partner, you're losing the loved one, you helped, it's what they wanted, it's for the best, but that is still going to play on your mind, knowing that you helped do it,
My daughter was looking at taking my mother to Switzerland because she would ask on a daily basis. She'd had enough.
Oh, Christ.
Animals don't ask.
My ex-mother-in-law, I wouldn't have took her to Switzerland. I'd have quite happily did it where she fucking lived. But I shouldn't say that really, but...
Me too, Holly. Me too.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would have taken my mum to Switzerland, but I hadn't got a passport.
I've always said myself, Holly, if I had nothing, if I was going to be a vegetable for the rest of my life, well, more of a vegetable than I am now, I wouldn't want to carry on.
I'd turn off the machines.
Simply because I wouldn't want to be a burden to everybody around me. Not just to end my suffering, but those people that have got to care for people in that position, they're going to suffer nearly as much in one way or the other. I mean, that was the reason. I mean, Heather would be quite open about this. I am. The last few times that she took my little cat to the vet, I didn't go with her because literally I didn't want to make that decision. I didn't want to lose my cat. But once she got that bad that I could see how she was suffering and the way it was going, I had to go because I knew it was going to happen. That's what we were taking her for. And I went.
And every time I took her without him, I promised him I would bring her home.
Yeah.
And we would take her back if that was the decision that needed to be made. But I wouldn't do it without him there.
Yeah, but that's like the Irish suicide pilot, isn't it, Gary? He was caught practicing with a blimp, bouncing off cliffs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, she just sat in her little box. I had the door open, the cage door open, and she just had her paw on my hand all the way there. And while we were sat in the waiting room, it was the same. She knew it was the end.
I'll find a way, Holly. Don't worry.
And the vet asked me if I wanted to hold her while she went, and I said yeah. So. It's the other thing with that. It's for somebody my age, it's embarrassing to have to ask somebody to help you to do a daily task that you were capable of doing. It's embarrassing.
It's that embarrassing you don't ask.
Yeah, it works both ways.
No. Seriously, darling. I mean, my arm's better now. But I really struggled when I...
Yeah, I know.
With a lot of things. The main one was actually wiping my backside after I'd had a poo. You know, there was no way I was coming to you and say, can you do this for me? Because I'm struggling. It hurts. You don't do it. You find a way.
Yeah, you use one of them litter pickers and...
No, but that's how we are in life.
And like,
we are so embarrassed. We won't ask.
How many times? Why do you think I come out to the car and lift your shopping in for you, so you don't have to lift the big bags? And
because I've just been traipsing around the fucking supermarket.
Oh, thank you.
I've done my bit. You're doing your bit. You're helping.
When you want your washing brought in from out there, you can carry it in yourself in future then. Yeah, I do stitch. I mean, I didn't know, but when I collapsed, when I had the major stroke the first time, I mean, you know, I just woke up on the floor. I didn't understand what had happened until afterwards. But I was out for a while, and Heather had put me in the recovery position, and you know, I've had a DNR in place for a long time, Paulette. It's on my medical records. If I'm gone, I'm gone. That's it. Don't bring me back. Yeah, when Heather's mum went, she had a DNR in place. The family agreed on it. It was on her record. Yet when they rang to tell Heather, they were still working on her and trying to bring her back. And I felt really, really bad for Heather because she actually had to tell the paramedics to stop. But her mother knew she wanted to go. And, you know, I've had it on my record, Stitch, for about 20 years. Probably more than that. That if I was not going to live a normal life, then don't do it.
And you can call me hard, you can call me a bitch, you can call me all the names under the sun, but I do have it about me to do that. Like I said to Holly, I will find a way. If she ends up in that situation, some of you have seen a message, I don't know who else has, but I would.
I do actually. I'm one of these that I will help a little old lady across the road if I think she needs it and I'm capable of doing it. And I've done it many a time. You try and do it with some of the younger ones that you can see are struggling, and they'll have a go at you for offering. But I have had them turn around and say, thank you. You know, yes, I needed that.
Oh, don't worry, Hol. I'll make sure that the morphine machine fucks up and the machine ODs you.
But we do, Arch, too. We help each other as much as we can. And luckily enough, Heather's got a brilliant family. And if we needed anything and it's within their grasp of doing, they would do it without question. And not just to Heather. I know they'd do it for me as well, especially a daughter.
Well, there might be that, God forbid, accident that we're both in the same situation, and it would be down to them to make the decision for us.
Yeah, and that's
and you know
why.
Don would.
and she's always been aware of what our decisions on that sort of thing would be, because it is something that we do talk about. I think it's something that you have to, even like at the moment, I haven't got a will. One, because I haven't got anything to leave to anybody, but
other than debts.
But yeah, we've always talked about, if different scenarios and what we would like to happen. Yeah, well, you might looking at me with, you see me walking towards you with the tattoos. I think, do you want to hand across the road, love? You know what I mean? Most of them shit themselves anyway. But I do it, and I have done it.
Holly, you're not going to die. But if something goes wrong, we'll make sure you're looked after. And your wish is taken care of.
I mean, Heather's the same as me. We're the sort of people that even though we need a seat, we would give our seat up for somebody if they needed it more. I'm always offered, when I'm out opening doors for people, and older people especially, and even when I was a gardener at the hospital, when I was a maintenance man up there, I'd quite often see old patients get dropped off by a taxi and just dumped on the path. And I'd be the first one there offering an arm to help them into the, whatever surgery they were going into, whatever department. Or I'd go and find them a wheelchair, or I'd go and find them a porter that could do it for them,
We were at the Camwell show a few years ago, and I've always had difficulty walking and doing things. And there was an old lady. She was packing up to leave, and she was pottering to and from where they were to where the car was parked with deck chairs and things. And I just went over and offered to help. And she says, well, you've got more difficulty walking than I have. I said, I know, love, but I know what it's like.
Well, it was like last time you dislocated your hip here, wasn't it? I mean, she was sat here for 5 hours waiting for a bloody ambulance for a start. When the paramedics came, I'd already made several attempts to get the hip back in because I knew how to do it. But I just couldn't do it because she was in a chair. She couldn't lay on the floor. So I couldn't get the right leverage to pull it, to get it to drop back in.
Couldn't get your foot in my crotch.
And the paramedics were quite surprised that I actually even tried. I said, well, if I could have done it, then she wouldn't have needed calling you. It would have been a few days bed rest. The swelling would have gone down. And she'd have been fine. I mean, when I destroyed my shoulder, I thought it was dislocated to start with, so I tried to put it back in. And then I realised it wasn't just the arm that was moving, it was the whole shoulder and the whole joint and everything was moving. No, that this isn't just dislocated. At which point I had to get a mate to run me to the hospital.
But you'll find, you're right, Holly, but
yeah,
the reason those who struggle offer to help is because they understand. Your average, everyday, able person hasn't got a clue how difficult it is for somebody that struggles. They just don't know. They don't see it. It's under their noses, but they don't realise what the other person is going through. But the amount of times I've had people say, well, it's only 10 minutes up the road. No, it's not.
I was going to ask that just now. I mean, we got 17 watching. How many people in here now know and would attempt to relocate somebody's hip if they put their hip out, if they dislocated their hip? Be honest. how many of you would know what to do and even attempt to do it?
A shoulder would be easier.
The shoulder's quite easy, but a hip is something a bit different.
Nobody's got that sort of knowledge, darling. I think
That's what I mean.
That's it. No chance. No. A, because you've got to have a certain amount of strength.
Yep.
B, you've got to know what you're doing. And it hurts. So nobody wants to actually hurt somebody by it, but stop them from hurting at the same time.
A shoulder is quite easy. If you can distract the person, and you don't need any strength to do a shoulder normally, it's just manipulation. You just got to move the arm in the right way and it would drop back in. But a hip, you actually have to have physical strength to pull it. And you've got to put up with, as Heather rightly said, a lot of screaming and yelling, because that one is very, very painful. You know, you've got to you're pulling against all their leg muscles, basically, and the body is naturally fighting you. But again, that's a lot of that is down to training and willing to have a go. You know, I was willing to have a go for Heather, and she wanted me to have a go at the time.
Because I didn't want to go into hospital for a fucking week.
That's you know, I mean, years ago, you used to have people, what were they called? Bone setters. You know, there'd be people like working down the mines that if someone dislocated or broke a bone, they wouldn't go and seek medical advice. They'd have someone there that would strap it up, splint it, put it back into the joint, and they used to call them the bone setters. And they used to do manipulation for neck slip discs and all sorts of things. But they did, the medical profession, they frowned on it, basically. Yeah, I'm going back way before my time, obviously.
But when you had nobody else and you were down the mine, you needed the bone setter. But I'll say fair play to Little Stitch if he can put your knee backs. Well done for showing him, Stitch.
Yeah, that's what I said, Paul. It's knowing what to do as well. There are people that would have a go, but if you get it wrong, you can do a lot more damage, to be honest.
Well, you could have a go with me because it's metal, so you're not going to do any damage. But fair play for being willing to give it a go, because a lot of people just would go, no, I can't do it. I can't look. I can't touch. No, ew, that's horrible. So fair play, Paulette.
I mean, with my shoulder, one of the lads that was with us, I was trying to get him to manipulate it, hoping it would drop back in, and he wouldn't even do that. He would, oh, I can't. Oh no.
I used to be able to put my own hip back in, but the muscles have got stronger.
Yeah, if you move it down, Stitch, and just lift it up a bit, it should slide back in. It's the same with the shoulder. But whoever it is, you need to be relaxed. If you tense your muscles up, it won't go back in. Yeah, with a shoulder, I mean, I put one in for a lad many years ago when we were motorbiking. And he didn't even know it had dropped back in. I just was twisting his arm around while I was talking to him. And I just slapped him on the back and said, there you go, that's fine. And he fucking hell, he said, I didn't feel a thing. I said, no, because you weren't thinking about it and you weren't tensed up.
How did we get into relocating dislocated
God knows.
joints?
But the thing is, I come from a generation where a minor injury, you always tried to sort it out for yourself. If you cut yourself, there was none of this running to the doctors or the hospitals to get yourself stitched up. It was stick a plaster on it or bandage it up. And if it's still bleeding in a couple of days, then okay, maybe we better go and get it looked at. I mean, I did it myself in there. I mean, I stitched that up. But, you can't see that because of the name there. There's some stitches there that I actually did myself. And my doctor saw it many, many months afterwards. And he actually admitted that I did a good job of it. He weren't happy. Yeah, but that's the thing, Gary. We weren't afraid of getting hurt back then, my age group. Yeah, that's what super glue was designed for originally, Holly. It was to save doing stitches. It was battlefield surgery, meatball surgery, as they call it. I still use super glue now if I cut myself. Stings like fuck with this new stuff, but same as when I put the chisel through my hand during lockdown. Well, it was first day of lockdown. I put a chisel, went in the palm of my hand here, and came out here. I mean, you can still see I don't know whether you'll see it on there. You can still see the scar. I never went to the hospital. I just cleaned it, dressed it, super glued it. I mean, the only big thing with me now is if I do cut myself, is infection because of the problems with my blood. Yeah, but that's the thing, Archie. The original super glue, like I say, was designed for that purpose. Super glue originally, yeah. You can use baking powder as well, Holly, but I've never tried that one on human skin if the tear's that big. But I do know how to suture and stuff like that. I was trained for that years ago. Treating burns.
Is that Rabbi burns?
Rabbi, yeah. It needed a second skin. It worked. Yeah. I mean, I treated a bloke who burnt his arm. And the first thing I asked for was a roll of cling film, which people couldn't understand. I said, well, it keeps the germs out. It'll keep it sterile, keep it clean till you get to the hospital, You dress it and then wrap it in cling film.
It's what they recommend for burns now.
Yep. Dry dressing, not a wet one, as a lot of people think. Put a dry, clean dressing on the burn and wrap it in cling film.
Or just cling film.
Same with, Jesus, my memory is going. A compound fracture. The biggest danger with a compound fracture is infection. So if you wrap it in cling film. It's not as easy as they think, as people think. Believe me. But if you do it quickly at the time, if you're doing it to yourself, the quicker you do it, the less painful it is, because you've already got that bit of pain there, so it doesn't make it any worse.
And the adrenaline's going.
Yeah, you've got the adrenaline as well. It's having the ability not to panic and think about what you're doing and do it as quick as possible. I mean, I got to admit, I still carry in the car quite an extensive first aid kit. I did have the German one, which you have to have in your car over there. And in those kits, they're a government issued one, and they do include sutures and stuff like that. Although you're not supposed to use it yourself, the paramedics are supposed to use it on your behalf so they don't have to carry so much. But I had one that I bought back, and I used to keep it in the car here. But it went missing over the years. Because what they do in Germany is when the paramedics turn up, they use the equipment from your pack, and they give you a voucher to go and replace the bits they've used. You initially have to pay for it, buy the kit yourself, but the replacements are free if it gets used.
I think it's the same in France, isn't it?
I don't know about France. It wasn't law that you had to carry one there, but in Germany it was.
I know in France you've
time.
got to carry your own breathalyzer test so that they can use that when they want to.
Yeah, and you've got to carry your spare fuel and your warning triangle and a vest and shit. But
don't care, not going.
It's like you same as tattooists. They've got to have a certain bit about them where they're not going to worry about causing people pain. Yes, it does pop, Gary, because it's very stretchy, and even a sharp needle, you'll have to
bit of force,
a little bit of force in it. And again, it depends on where it is on the body. Obviously, skin is thicker in some places than others. And if it's a bit thinner, obviously, you've got to put the stitches closer together to stop the stitches ripping out. No, Stu, it's so the police can check as well. Well, again, Gary, that's the sort of what I'm saying is people don't realise what's involved, and they wouldn't even attempt to do it. Everybody knows that you can hold a deep cut together, and it will stop it bleeding for a little while. I had occasion, it was down in Cornwall actually, when I was a doorman, that a bloke, I don't know whether he was drunk, got into a fight in the toilet, but he fell on a broken pint glass, and he actually had the top of the glass went into his arm at an angle, and it cut the artery in his arm, and he was bleeding profusely. So I just put 2 fingers in the hole and just pinched the artery and held that there for 20 minutes until the paramedics arrived. And they actually said, well, there's every chance that you saved his life by doing that. Not everybody would have done that. They'd have been squeamish about even putting their fingers in the hole. You can't hold it permanently like that all the time. You do have to release it for a few seconds, about every 5-10 minutes, to keep the blood flowing. Otherwise it clots and you could end up losing your arm. Again, I knew to do that. And I just sat there with him and held it until the paramedics arrived. But again, how many people would know that?
Yeah, but you've had the training, darling.
Again, it does come down to the training and knowing what to do over most of it. Yeah, exactly, Paula. You'd be surprised what a normal person can do to help in a real bad situation like that. If you bound it up tight enough, that's going to hold it for a little while. Again, a tourniquet for bad limbs, especially amputation or part amputation. But again, you have to release that tourniquet every few minutes to let the blood flow through. Otherwise, it'll kill the rest of the limb. And that's the other thing with dislocation, is sometimes it can cut off the blood flow. Like if you've dislocated an ankle, for instance, if it's blocking the blood flow, if it's pinching the arteries, then there's no blood flow getting to the foot, which can cause the foot to die.
Anyway, some people don't like this subject, darling. Can we change it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've had all the right training and it doesn't worry us, but let's not send people to bed with nightmares, right? Please?
Yeah, as you're talking about the government isn't enough. Yeah.
At the end of the day, the majority of us will perform perfectly adequately in an emergency situation. When you've got to do something, you do it. Sitting thinking about it, so, oh, couldn't do that, couldn't do that.
Personally, I think everybody should, Gary. It's available to everybody. First aid, usually only to about level 2 for basic members of the public, but that's enough to save somebody's life. It's like they've put these defibrillators all in public now, but you've got to know how to use them. You know, you can do as much harm with one than good if you use things wrong, especially medical. But that's the other thing. A lot of people now, staying on the subject for a little while, not gory, a lot of people now are frightened of administering first aid or trying to help somebody in those sort of circumstances, obviously because of the risk of being sued if it goes wrong. And that has happened.
Oh, and by the way, defibrillators, you are on the phone dialing 999 and they put somebody on the other end to tell you what to do with it.
Yeah, or there's somebody local that's trained to use it.
No, they put you through to somebody that tells you how to use it.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore, Stu. They used to put us through it. But I'd let all my certificates lapse for years. And when I was on job seekers and doing college courses to renew a lot of old certificates, it was one that I retook. And I took up to level 4 again. Yeah, I couldn't, Holly, but you know the mentality of some people nowadays, and they do, and they would.
They do in America. That's the danger.
Yep. Oh, you tried to do that, and you did it wrong, and now I'm permanently injured. Boom, you're straight in court.
You tried to save my son's life, and it didn't work. Therefore, you're responsible for his death. No.
And there is a possibility that you can get things wrong. Even doctors get things wrong. You know yourselves that there are doctors out there that have been sued by patients through doing things wrong, usually because they're bad doctors and they've been doing it deliberately. But some of them are accidental, and it does go the patient's way in court. Now, okay, and then you've got the other thing that some people just don't want help. Don't touch me. No. Sadly, that's the society that's been created over the years, that people are reluctant to help people in any way, shape or form, not just medical. but in any way, shape, or form.
But a lot of it has come from the fact that in America they will sue. And they are encouraged to do so by lawyers because they want to make
they make money out of it.
Yeah. I need a drink. Do you need anything, baby?
Yeah, I'll have another.
Will you?
I'll tell you what, can I have a can of 7-Up? Just for a change. There is a couple left in the
There is a
bottle.
couple left, yes.
Can I have one of them, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
They should ask me nicely. The kids like the other one, so.
But going back again, this is why talking about suing people for medical mistakes and shit. This is why they brought in the Damaged by Vaccine Act, 1976. People were getting good payouts from it because of the swine flu outbreak and that's why the government put a limit on it, because they knew over COVID, they knew things were going to go wrong, and they knew they would be sued. So that's why they put the law in place and put a cap on what you can claim. And they do it with other things now as well. They did it with the post office scandal. They've put limits on what most people can get, and it's nowhere near what they would be entitled or deserve. Yeah, absolutely, Gary. And this is a thing that a lot of people didn't realise. They didn't realise the spores from the black mold could cause respiratory problems. Until that information got out into public, people would just wipe it away. And they didn't even think about the spores that are created when you're wiping it away. You know? Thank you. Same with asbestos dust and stuff like that. I mean, I learned about that one because my uncle actually died of asbestosis. And that was because he was in the Navy. Oh, excuse me. I don't know whether anybody heard that. I hope not.
I did.
I think yourself lucky. You only heard it. I'm sitting in it. But there's a lot of things out there like that. But I am struggling with my eyes again at the moment, guys, and I've got a headache. So I am going to call it at 9 o'clock. I will keep going till then. I definitely ain't going to make it till 10. You didn't hear it.
Yeah, I can now smell it.
Sorry.
I'm trying to wait.
Wait till you can taste it and you know it's got there totally then.
I love you.
Oh, this laughing is actually making me go lightheaded tonight. No, don't. Please don't. But it is actually nice to sit and laugh over things. We haven't done a lot of laughing lately.
No more.
I can't. I've got a problem with wind, all right? Oh, Jesus. Both ends. Yeah, Paulette, and that's the attitude of a lot of people, unfortunately. Again, yeah, there is a lot of elderly people that wouldn't think of claiming, Gary, and their family do it on their behalf. Yeah, there is a way over the COVID that you can use that act and the compensation rules around it, but the payout is a lot less, obviously, because the person is no longer with you. You're claiming for loss, not for injury. And that makes a big difference. The post office one, yeah, you know, there's spouses that there was one woman in particular that her husband actually committed suicide over it. It put her in a great deal of strife. It put her in debt. She lost her home, and what have you. So absolutely, that yes, she should be compensated for that, and rightly so. Losing the main breadwinner of a family is always going to put a family in strife. I don't care what people say. It absolutely will. And if it's not their fault.
Even if it's not the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Even if it's the mother that stays at home and looks after the kids while dad's out at work, it means dad can't go out to work.
But it was put in place, and the government realised there was going to be a lot of claims because the 1976 Act, with what they did, it makes the government liable. Although Big Pharma is liable, and you effectively take the case out against Big Pharma, but any compensation due, all the governments agreed involved in it, that they would pay out the compensation. And obviously in America, with the way their systems work, compensation is unlimited, really. I mean, you've only got to look at the payouts of the claims against the police over there. Now, very rarely do you get a big payout in this country through misdemeanors, I'll call it, of the police. Heavy-handedness, injury. I mean, there has been a couple of cases where people have claimed in the tens of thousands and got it. But over there, you can be talking in millions. I mean, they get tens of thousands just for a wrongful arrest over there. Where over here, I think it's usually around $1,500 for a wrongful arrest and wrongful detention. And that's what started the suing culture in this country, is people realised what the Americans were getting, and that's why there was caps and limits put on it. And the worst ones are the councils. I mean, I went through it. I got in touch with, there probably is a bit of lag, Gary.
Just make sure you're on live. Click on the video, make sure you're on live.
Yeah, or refresh your YouTube feed. Oh, God, where was I now? I've forgotten what I was going to fucking say now.
Do you want me to go back in 5 minutes and find out?
No. It was literally just now.
I know it was just now.
Jesus, my memory's getting worse.
I can't remember what you were talking about because I wasn't listening.
I know it was to do with compensation.
That's why people sue, because the Americans get so much.
Yeah.
And that's why they put a cap on it. And that's about where I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were going to
I had something I was going to say, and it's just... the police. Yeah, I mean, they got that bad over there. They actually broke a guy's neck. Cuffed up, threw him against the wall. Broke his neck, and he got 200 million, I think it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. You can only claim compensation for it, Gary, if you rent a place. If it's your own house and you've got it, and you end up with respiratory problems because of it, you can't sue. It's only if it's a private rental or council rental, you can sue the council or the landlord if they haven't sorted it out.
If you own it, you'd be suing yourself.
Yeah. And there are certain circumstances where it's the actual person that has created the mold. I mean, damp, yes, some old buildings and that do let damp through. That does create it. I won't mention any names, but I know someone who's we talked about it the other day, and they've got that issue. And it's down to the lack of maintenance through the landlord. But in somewhere like if you own your own house and you've got black mold and damp in the bathroom, and it's due to the fact that you're using hot showers, the room's not ventilated, not cleaned down regular, then that can cause it. That is obviously down to yourself. But it's usually 9 times out of 10, it is down to poor maintenance. And that obviously comes down to yourself if you're an owner, or it comes down to the landlord if you're a renter. In which case, the landlord leaves themselves open. But there were laws changed around it again because of lax councils. We know councils are always bad for maintaining buildings anyway. I mean, we've got a lot of issues here. I used to do a lot of the maintenance myself because basically I did the proper job on it where the council wouldn't. You know, I didn't trust them to fix it properly. And I openly told them that as well. Oh, you need this doing. No, fuck off. I'm going to do it. I had half the living room floor up and replaced it myself because I knew they'd just bodge it up. All the plastering, I did myself. Yeah, that's all they do, guys. They patch it up and patch it up and patch it up. They never fix anything properly. But I used to be a builder, and I know how to do it. So, and I've got the tools to do it all. You know, same with the roof. I mean, our roof needs replacing. It needs a new roof on this house. It's council. If I had the money, I'd be up there doing it myself if I was fit enough. Fuck them, I'd do it because I know how to do it.
But they won't do it because their records say it was done previously.
You know, they said, oh, all the council houses up the street before they started selling them off all had new roofs on. No, they didn't. They did most of them, but this one didn't get done because the building company that were contracted to do it took the tiles, fucked off, and did a private cash job somewhere and missed this one. I mean, the council inspector's already been out and said the roof is condemned. It needs replacing. This was over 10 years ago, and they've still done nothing. Yet the neighbour got a new roof, and she claimed some off the council for it because when they were up there repointing the chimney stack, they actually destroyed her fucking roof. She got a new one out of it, but we didn't. I mean, we've got a gutter that's come apart at the moment. Yes, I could find the energy to get up there and fix it. It's only a matter of gluing a couple of bits together, but
you are not getting up.
It's finding somebody that will lend me a ladder local to get up there and do it. You know, it's 30 seconds work.
I'd rather give Simon a shout and ask him if he'd go up there and do it for us and pay him.
I mean, you know, I started decorating. Most of the rooms were done, but there's still stuff around here that needs doing, but I haven't got the energy to do it.
In fact, I think I'll do that. I'll give Simon a shout.
What's this? Norcal press surveillance, or is there something sinister going on? I found this. It's a Lockheed P3 flying through the Oh, that's something to do with a fucking hurricane. Some planes been flying through the storm. Well, they do anyway, because that's how they measure the pressures. So I don't know what he's fucking
Some
on about.
Yank panicking.
Yeah, some Yank spreading rumours.
They'll be accusing the army of sieging.
I've got a shed full of tools out there, Gary. I've got virtually every tool you can think of for every job that you'd need doing on a house. You know, I've got everything from screwdrivers to table saws and all sorts. Because that was my last job, was maintenance, building maintenance. And I used to do it on a lot of grade 2 listed as work as well, which means it has to be done right and it has to be done to a certain spec. And that includes roofing, lead work, and even coving work in grade 2 listed. If you've got the ancient coving, you can't even rip that down and replace it with modern. You have to do it the traditional way as it was done. I mean, yeah, I did use modern materials and I did use plastic rather than horsehair to rescreed it all, but it had to be done and look the same. Yeah, I did it for years, Gary. Traditional work and doing the chippy work. I used to prefer to use hand tools. I used to enjoy doing the job or repairing the job or making something with the tools that it would have been done with originally. I hate using electric planes. I've got some, but I'd prefer to use a hand plane or a spoke shave. And you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, I use cordless drills and modern drills, but I have got 2 different manual crank drills out there, including a bit and brace. And I've even got a 2-speed hand drill, believe it or not.
Would you enjoy giving to people when they say, have you got a cordless drill?
Yeah, someone needs to come round. Can I borrow a cordless drill? I said, yeah, there you go.
Oh, the old ones are the best. But
oh, yes. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 cordless drills, Holly, various sizes. And I've got half a dozen electric drills. Some of them are like a mini concrete breaker as well. And I've got just about every bit going for drilling, cutting, making big holes.
And I'm not allowed to do anything. The moment I want to do something, he takes it off me, and that's it. It's his job then.
Most I'm allowed is a Dremel. I've got 2 of those as well, Holly. But I used to use them for fine engineering work more than anything and craft stuff. I've got 3 sizes of a router out there. 3 different types of routers. My point is, why not local? There's a reason for that, Stuart, and it's the same as over here. They haven't got the number of them to cover everybody. So not every surgery or whatever has them in stock, simply because they never ordered not that many, because they knew the uptake had dropped. and it has dropped drastically. And that's why a lot of places have to get it in specially.
But it's also like you having to go up to Ash Furlong. It's doctors are going into group practices,
Yeah,
and they'll decide, like the hospitals are around here, they're all going into groups. They decide that actually, if you want that done, you've got to go to that one there, because that's where all the stock is, that's where the skills are, that's where whatever. So it could be that, Stuart.
and most of the ones round here, because of the sort of area we live in, they always try and persuade you to go private anyway, because most of them only do the NHS part-time. I mean,
These are terrible.
I had a cyst, reoccurring cyst behind my ear that I know needed sort of minor surgery to remove it. But I also knew it's something that a doctor, a GP, could do. There was a GP in the local surgery who was very good at it. Many people had told me he was good at it, but he'd left. And I had to go into the hospital to have it done. Well, yeah, Holly, you're saying that. This was the issue I had with the blood clot on the brain. Now, I had suffered bad headaches for weeks and weeks, and well, it was months. And all they kept doing was giving me painkillers. And then at work one day, I actually collapsed. I went into unconscious briefly with what they call a thunderclap headache. It's like being hit around the back of the head with a baseball bat. So, and I suffered, and I suffered for headaches for a couple of weeks after that. And I got that bad that I went back to see a doctor. And because it was a group practice, there was another doctor there that I saw, a lady doctor. And she took one look at me, listened to the story for 5 minutes. She said, "Are you actually feeling sick?" I said, "Yeah, I feel sick regular." And by the time I'd left that surgery, she'd had a bed booked for me at the hospital, a CT scan and an MRI booked, and actually asked me if I wanted to go by ambulance from surgery. She knew exactly what it was. Yeah, all the other doctors would just keep feeding me tramadol. And I always said that one doctor, she did save my life. She was the only one that noticed and put 2 and 2 together and came up with the idea that, yes, he's got a blood clot in the head. And what was it, 6 weeks I spent in hospital? No, more than that, wasn't it?
Oh, I wasn't counting.
And I did spend quite a few weeks in hospital with it.
I wasn't counting, my darling. I was just cooking your dinner and bringing it round.
And I've been on blood thinners ever since.
That was the one time your mum actually came up to see you.
Yeah, the one and only time. They thought I was fucking dying.
Well, that's what I told them.
I mean, I've got to get in touch with the doctors soon anyway, because they sent me straight to A&E with my swollen feet. The doctor there said, "Oh no, they're fine. They're fine. Nothing wrong with your legs." And now my legs are all swelling up as well as my feet. So I've got to try and persuade them to look into that again. So I'm hoping that I'll have a word with the consultants I'm seeing now for other things and see if I can get a referral rather than go through a GP.
Stuart, there are 2. The flu is separate to the C1. They are still 2 separate jabs.
Yeah.
They'll give them at the same time, but it's 2 things. But they've centralised it round by us. That if you want them, I think it's now the town hall. It's not even a practice. You go up the town hall on a certain day and get them. But yeah, It's 2.
And I believe the new flu one is based on the same stuff that the Jibby Jab's based on as well, along with some of the other inoculations that they're coming out with now.
You mean they're alphabet jabs?
They're all using the same technology they used for the COVID one. Take from that what you will. I won't say any more because that could get me into trouble. Because we know what certain platforms are like, even though you know it's right, you know it's genuine information. If you give it, they'll only class it as misinformation, even though it isn't. I mean, I even questioned, I had to have a tetanus after the cat bit me and my thumb got all infected. And I even made the nurse that administered that at the surgery show me the bottle she was taking it out of so I could see what was in it. And she said, well, why did you insist on that? I said, because it was made up of certain stuff and the same process as other stuff that you're giving out at the moment. I said, I wouldn't have had it. I'd have just had normal antibiotics to cure the infection. I wouldn't have had the tetanus. And it was only because my 10-year booster was out that I actually had it in the first place. So.
All these opportunities for you to die and you've escaped.
Oh, there's more than enough opportunities where I've survived when I shouldn't have done. For lots of different reasons and things. That's why I've always said I'm surprised I lasted as long as I have.
Yeah,
yeah, it's nature, it is the law, Gary. Absolutely, mate. Oh, I wouldn't say a walking miracle, more a walking disaster at the moment. The only sad thing is I know a lot of the things I've got now, they're never going to get better. It's just I've got to deal with them.
Good night, Hunter.
That's right, and no problem. I'm going to be calling it in a sec anyway, so I'm starting to feel that I didn't have my kip again this afternoon because we had a friend called round. I do try and have a kip on a Wednesday afternoon to make sure I can stay awake, but I didn't think I'd last long tonight with my throat. And again, you can probably see my eyes now. They're starting to water and go out of focus.
You've done too much talking because you wouldn't let me get no word in edgewise, Brian.
That's the thing, Holly. 9 o'clock is the normal time I'd go up to bed, even just to relax. And I'll fall asleep for an hour because I'm tired. And then I can't sleep for the rest of the night. But at least I'm comfortable, you know. But as always, guys, thank you very much for dropping in tonight. I will get to 10 o'clock. I managed to get to 10 o'clock on Heathers the other night because I'd had a bit of a rest. But I've been quite busy this week and I have got a lot on my plate over the next couple of weeks. But thank you all for coming, taking part. It's always nice to catch up with you. I must open the panel up again at some point on one of them.
It makes it easier because you don't have to do all the talking. Friday night we'll be going ahead as planned, as normal, as long as Buggerlugs doesn't fuck anything up on Friday afternoon with the hospital appointment.
Yeah.
But if that is the case, there will be an informative video letting you know.
Yeah, Paulette, they are putting limits on. They send you the message and say you've got so many days to reply, and if you don't, that's it. But that's quite all right, Karen. I enjoy it, as I say. I don't get out a lot, so I don't socialise a lot. And coming on and chatting with people is great for me. If I can give advice to anybody along the way, even better. And it's even better for me when some people have given me advice that I've taken in the past. So it does go both ways. So That's right, Art. Don't worry about it, mate. There's always people that just listen in the background. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that. You know, there's good lurkers and there's bad lurkers, but there's always lurkers. So. But yeah, take care of yourselves, guys. Have a good week, what's left of the week. And we will see you all on Friday, hopefully. But until then, as always, you know the score. Stay safe, stay strong, and stay free. And with that, it's good night from me.
And good night from me. Catch you Friday.
Take care, peoples. Look after yourself and each other. Bye for now.